He is an American living legend, a global citizen, not just a citizen of the United States of America. He's a global citizen and a father figure to many. He's the world's beloved motivational speaker, author, former radio DJ, former television host, former politician. He's an inspirational figure who was declared educable, mentally retarded by some ignorant people, but he was given hope by a very helpful mother and a helpful teacher who inspired him and placed in him a desire to reach for his greatest goals, greatest aspirations, and greatest height. And we also have joined with us today Mr. John Leslie Brown, who has an incredible story of overcoming some of the greatest challenges in life. And he is here today as a testimony and legacy of Mr. John Leslie Brown. He himself is an expert in motivation, empowerment, entertainment, youth and children. And under the tutelage of his father, he started speaking at a tender age of 14. Both have shared the stage with such people as the Dalai Lama, Bob Proctor, Richard Branson, and some of the movers and shakers that we can only talk about. And then visiting his Mr. Brown's site, he lists from Disney, Walt Disney, General Electric, as some of um, um, people or companies that he has influenced, he has worked with, and his resume is expensive and it is also impressive. But today we have them in person, and I realize that there are many, many of you that wanted to have an opportunity to have a live or to be in a live session with Mr. Brown. And here you have not only Mr. Brown, but his legacy. I want to welcome the both of you to our segment today. Welcome, Mr. Brown. And I love how you call your son. Welcome, John Leslie.
Yes. Thank you very kindly. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm so excited. We had a session, and the last session we had together, I mean, the response from it was phenomenal. And I just want to thank you and your audience for all of those who went online and purchased my book from Amazon. I was excited about the numbers. They came through. So thank you so very much for your help and support and for the work that you're doing to transform people's lives globally. You've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's just a great pleasure, and Mr. Brown. And in talking about your book, you recently published a book which has taken the literary world by storm. You've Got to Be Hungry. Before we get into the meat of our conversation today, I wanted to take a quick detour and talk about this book. I believe it's one of your greatest contributions to this world thus far, and a generation unborn to time. So just a little detour. What was the inspiration for this book, and take us on the author's journey?
I believe that everybody can identify with hunger. Hunger is a craving for a larger life and to begin to make a greater impact and live a life that will outlive you. I believe that craving is in all of us. And so the goal was is to share it in a way with practical principles that they could identify with. Those who hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. Righteousness, right thoughts, right feelings, right words, right actions, and right relationships would put you in alignment that will allow you to live a life that will outlive you.
Yes, that's so good. So, Mr. Brown, I'm a woman, I'm a female, obviously. So, the next two questions are asked on behalf of all the women out there that are raising sons and children, the single parents that are single handedly providing leadership and raising their children. So, what role has women played in your life in molding and shaping your life over the last couple of years? What role has women played in your life in molding and shaping your life?
I'm so glad you asked me that question because I plan on writing a book to debunk the theory that a woman can raise a boy to be a man. I want to just, first of all, get that out of the way. Because
Yes.
81% of the households in our community are headed up by women. My mother raised me and my brothers to be men. And at Father's Day time, I gave my mother a Father's Day card. I remember being in Chicago and I was on radio there. And during the time of Father's Day, I invited men who provide and protect and mothers who serve as fathers.
Yes, yes. I,
Very
I remember doing that with my mother, growing up in a single parent home, and year after year, and I still do it, give my mother a Father's Day card, because women basically are holding it down, you
yeah,
know?
without any question. And
Mhm.
so there's a difference between a father and a sperm donor. And
Now.
so and so I think that when I think about myself, when I went on television, had a talk show, I would always end it by saying, "This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. It's been a
Mhm.
pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege." And I did that intentionally. I told my daughters, never, ever become involved with a man who does not respect his mother. Because a man who does not respect his mother will never respect you. So be selective and find out what is his relationship with his mother. Now, I'm not talking about somebody that's allowing themselves to be manipulated by their mother, but somebody who honors and respects their mother. I'm here because of two women. One gave me life, the
Mhm.
other gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, "All that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother." I was reflecting on the impact that my mother has had on me. Number one, I learned the power of faith. I remember a reporter asking her, "How did you know you can raise seven children by yourself as a single mom and you never had any children?" And she said, "I just believe that the Lord will make a way somehow." The other quality I learned from my mother, not only faith, but perseverance. My mother went through a lot raising us. I was the most problematic child. I mean, I was more problems than all of the other ones put together. That's why this one to my right has blessed me with that. Okay, I just wrap it on the other side and say, now you got yourself to deal with. And I remember when I brought my mother home, and that was my childhood dream. And she said, "Leslie, you didn't have to do this." I said, "I know, Mama, but you didn't have to adopt us either." And then she looked at the house, looked around, then she looked at me and said, "And you were such a problem child." I said,
Mhm.
"I know, but I got money now."
Yeah. Oh, I love that. The problem child that has money now.
Yeah,
I just call it creative genius.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the creative genius, because the educational system and society is built on a cutting mechanism.
yeah,
And so if you have everyone that thinks alike and acts alike, you can control those individuals. But when you have a divergent, when you have an outlier, and you were the divergent thinker, you were the outlier, there's no place in a cookie cutting machinery to put that individual. And it takes someone with great capacity like Miss Mamie Brown, and to be able to raise that level of greatness.
thank you. Yeah, this is true because Mama was an entrepreneur as well. So I learned faith, perseverance, and entrepreneurship. She was
Wow.
very entrepreneurial. My mother used to sell slices of sweet potato pie for 50 cents. And the people loved it because she could bake a sweet potato pie so good, you couldn't eat it with your shoes on. You had to take your shoes off so you could wiggle your toes.
Just to wiggle the toes, and you're still wiggling the toes.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. And it's interesting. Our background has so much similarity. I'm one of seven children, and we were raised in a single parent home as well. So we have some things in common. And one of the things that we have in common is a strong strong mothers that raised us with a love for God and a love for humanity, that taught us how to give back. But we were also raised with mothers who were entrepreneurs out of necessity, you know. And so this takes me to my next question. What role has women actually played in your business? Not just in
Um,
your life, but in your business as
yes,
well.
it's a major role. For instance, one of the people that played a key role in my beginning to expand was my daughter, Ona Brown, Dr. Ona
Mhm.
Brown, because she learned how to negotiate international contracts when I was speaking. And I didn't have the time to do that, nor did I have the mindset to do that. But she took it upon herself to learn how to negotiate international contracts and
Mhm.
allowed me to travel to over 51 countries. And she accompanied me on those particular trips as well as John Leslie. So my daughter, who is now the CEO of the company, she has been a major force, and including another friend of mine, the former news reporter for Detroit News, but now lives in Atlanta, and her name is Lauren Hudson. She has been very instrumental and been a key person to help me to get to where I am and to help me to begin to expand and be more strategic and impactful for the companies that we select and that we serve, and the amount of products that we can offer them.
Yeah, that's really, really good, Mr. Brown. And I look forward to an opportunity to introducing Ona Brown, because she's a force in and of herself. And I think that she will be such an encouragement and inspiration for the women that are listening even now and those that will listen later. Thank you so much for sharing with that.
Yeah, and Dr. Oh, I forgot to share with you,
Mhm.
Dr. Celeste Johnson. She's been
Yes,
a business partner for years. She used to travel as my assistant. Now she has Celeste Johnson International, and she helped people to produce online presentations and how to sell their products and expertise, because knowledge is the new currency.
yes,
And
it is.
yes, she's been the longest lasting professional female that I've had in my business.
That is so fantastic. And I welcome another conversation with you where we can really narrow our topic and talk to women, and in particular, women entrepreneurs and women, females that are in leadership positions. And just another slight turn in our journey today. John Leslie,
Yes.
you're sitting next to one of my icons, and he's way up there with Stephen Jobs, with Sir Winston Churchill, the Dalai Lama, and I could name it, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King. He's way up there amongst those individuals that really have pushed humanity forward. But for you, and I have to call your name like your father calls you, John Leslie, describe what it feels like growing up in a home with your father.
Well, that's an interesting environment to say the least. I'm very blessed to be the youngest son of Mr. Les Brown. Growing up in the household, it was really surrounded by empowerment. It was surrounded by, we had a large library and motivational, empowering audios that we had to listen to on a regular basis. And I did not realize at the moment how that would play such a major role in my development later on in life. But I remember a time growing up with my dad, and actually, I was in high school and I was struggling in school at the time. And before my report card, my dad put me on punishment. Dr. Trim, I'm like, hold on a second. Why would you do that? I've been checking the mail. I know you haven't seen my grades. And why would you put me on punishment? And in our household, we didn't have a typical punishment. No, there was no timeout, none of that. He actually put me on what he called room arrest. Okay, room arrest. Yes, which meant I had 2 meal breaks and 2 bathroom breaks, and I could not leave my room. And then he took the keyboard from the computer so I could only see my screensaver. took away my television privileges. He took away my telephone privileges. And he said, every time I walk by, you better be studying.
There's something else I took away. What was that?
On top of all of that, he took the door off the hinges of my room.
Oh my, oh my.
And
He not only owned the house, he owned the door to the house.
Hello, thank you.
yes, and he has such a huge sense of humor, so he would come by the room and fake knock on the door. Oh, no need to knock, young man. I can see that you're reading. And
Oh, and plus he tortured you.
yes, indeed. Add that to the list. And I remember I was in my room reading. I would read motivational books that we found around the house, but I wouldn't do my homework because I felt that was giving him what he wanted, the control. So came across this book by Jim Rohn, and it had this quote that really stood out. He said, your life, my life, the lives of each and every one of us will serve as either a warning or an example.
Mm.
It went on to say a warning of lack of discipline, lack of drive and ambition, or an example of objectives clearly perceived and intensely pursued. And I remember in my room on room arrest, just with 2 bathroom breaks and 2 meal breaks, I read that book and I said, oh no, I'm a warning.
Oh my gosh.
What not to do.
Yes.
And the best part about growing up in his household was just to be surrounded by such a great example.
Yes.
And that's a blessing that I still give thanks for to this day.
And this is amazing because he was an example to you, but you're a testimony and a legacy for us.
Mhm.
And that's really, really powerful. So in talking about your father, what 3 principles for greatness did you extrapolate from him?
Well, that's a great question. I think I learned I would consider that there are 3 curriculums to success that I learned from my father and his illustrious career. The first curriculum and the first level of success is the dream phase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the dream phase. For those that are watching from home, just type in dream in your message box. And we've all been there. That's when you're forming the vision. That's when you're figuring out what you're passionate about. That's when you are actually discovering the talent and the potential within you and finding out how to put that in this free market enterprise system that we have globally. And many people get stuck in the dream phase and they never learn how to turn their dreams into the next phase of greatness, which I consider your destiny phase. Yes. First, you got the dream phase, but once you figure out what your dream is, once you start to build relationships around your dream, then you graduate to the next level and you move from having a dream to claiming your destiny. And one of the things I learned from my dad is that if you don't claim your destiny won't claim you. In your destiny phase, that's when you're doing the work. That's when you got the skill sets. That's when you're developing the expertise in order to develop a competitive edge in your industry. So first you have the dream phase. And my dad's book, his first book, Live Your Dreams, and all of his material really designed to get people to dream and to take action on their dreams, right? After you take action, you move yourself to the destiny phase. And many people get bogged down there because they don't graduate to that next level. And after the dream phase and the destiny phase, then you have the dynasty. Dynasty. And I believe the difference between legacy and dynasty, legacy is all about how you want to be remembered. A dynasty is about why you will never be forgotten.
Come on now. Come on now. I could see why you are definitely his son because you carry his DNA. So thank you so much. The dream, the destiny, the dynasty. And that's something that we can all walk away with. These principles that you have extrapolated can be applied even to our own lives. So The next few questions and conversation that we want to have, I'm throwing it out to both of you. Both of you can answer these questions. So, if you had one speech of the century that would help people to connect with their greatness, what would that speech be entitled, and what would you say? And any one of you can answer that.
Okay. So for me, I would, that speech would be entitled, uh, Keep the Dynasty Alive.
Mhm.
And there's this traditional growth model that people subscribe to, that you have your adolescent years and you do some learning, then you become adult, you so mature, and then there's this expectation that the older you get, sometimes the slower you get, or it's time to wind down or go back. But I believe that when you have a dynasty, and when you keep your dynasty alive, the older you get, the richer you get. The older you get, the healthier you'll get. And you get to create what my dad says, to create a life that outlives you. And many people, they get stuck and they get bogged down by their destinies in life with the activities, the meetings, the busyness, but they never figure out how to duplicate themselves and how to go beyond a single lifespan. And I would share the techniques that I've learned from my dad, where he's 75 and he works like he's 25 every day. He runs circles around me every day with his.
And looks like he's 25. You
Yes,
gotta
he does. Don't tell him that. He'll be online on a, yeah.
well, I have to compliment both of you. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah.
So thank God he gave you that good-looking gene.
Thank you, thank you. But we've all had people in us that poured into us at an early age that
Yes, we
we can
did.
attribute a lot of our success to. And so it's a matter of remembering that and to keep the dynasty of that person alive.
Thank you so much. Mr. Brown, how are you going to top that?
Well, I think you need to know when to hold them, when to roll them, and when to walk away. What's the next question?
When to hold, when to roll, and when to fold.
Yes. He took something from me. My speech would be how to live a life that will outlive you.
Mm.
We learn, we earn, we pass it on. It's very important that we find out what is our superpower, something that you master. It's that we were not born to work for a living, but to live our making, and living our making will make our living.
Oh
And
my God. Yeah.
once you find that, that's your superpower, then you now have the opportunity to monetize that. A calling is something that you love so much that you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. And
Mhm.
so you love helping people, and that's your superpower, and you do that extremely well. And you have class on how you do it and how you do everything. That's what I'm inspired by your example. I'm cornbread, but you are elegant and you have class. I'm just cornbread and pickled pig feet and some oxtail and hot water cornbread mixed together. You know?
Yes. Prepared in a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
Yes.
I gotta throw that in. If your
Yeah.
cornbread is
Yeah.
prepared by Michelin stars chef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So to me, when you have a sense of destiny,
Mhm.
that you're willing to do whatever is required to hold yourself to a higher standard, to be
Mhm.
disciplined. As Socrates said, the undisciplined life isn't worth living.
Yes.
To be willing to pursue your passion, to live a heart centered life where your heart is there, your treasure is also. To have unshakable faith in pursuit of that dream, knowing that things are going to happen that you can't see coming, just like the coronavirus. But you know, in the midst of it, we will get through this. It has not come to stay, it has come to pass. And to be willing to reinvent yourself. Paul said, I must die daily, that we must die daily to give birth to Christ in you, your hope of glory.
Mm.
go to that next level, to soar to new heights.
This is fantastic. I think if I was listening to both of you, I would be that one person in the entire auditorium standing on my feet, giving you a standing ovation, even before the speech is over. But
Thank
both of you are talking about something that is so vitally important, and that is the whole idea of greatness. And let's talk about the process of greatness. So, what hurdles did you overcome to get where you are today? What can I ask that again? What hurdles did you overcome to get where you are today? And we're talking about the process of greatness.
The biggest hurdle was the environment.
Mm,
To look around the community where I was born and raised, and to have a vision of something beyond there, and not having other children in my age category that had that kind of vision
mm,
and that kind of dream, wanting to travel and see the world. That's something that I was inspired when I looked at television and I saw I Love Lucy and the Jackie Gleason show and all those television programs. I wanted to travel around the world and see things, which I'm doing now, which I expose my kids to, and they travel. Only 15% of the population ever travel globally. And but to remind myself that this is not my rightful place, that I'm
mm,
not supposed to be poor, and that I'm going to buy my mother a home, and I'm going to get her out of here. A man, my mother raised us. She said, "A man provides and protects." I'm old school. I don't believe that a woman should work and pay bills. A man should provide and protect. If she wants to work, that's good. But whatever money you earn, you keep that for yourself. But a man pays the bills. That's the era that I came up in, and provide and protect his family. And so when I turned 18, I sat my mother down. I said, "You never have to work again." And I took care of her until she was 89 when she made her transition. And so having the mindset that I am more than a conqueror, not just in lip service, but in how I live my life, that I can control my own personal economy. I can develop the skill set that will allow me to create multiple streams of income and to be my own boss.
mhm.
I will never forget when I quit a job and everybody asked on a job, "Where are you going?" I said, "I have no idea, but I'm going away from here." Sometimes you have to leap and grow your wings on the way down.
I say, give yourself a going away party.
Yes, that's right. I did that for a CBS station in LA. I had a big luncheon for them. And they said, what's the occasion? I said, "I'm going in another direction." You said, "You are kidding. You earning over six figures for 3 hours on the air. Why are you leaving?" I said, "I told you I wanted to do the radio program at home. You
Mhm.
said you want to keep me here and have me under your thumb." I said, "I'm not a under your thumb kind of dude. I'm taking myself away from here so I can control my own future. I don't want to give you that kind of power over me."
Wow, taking back your personal power.
Yes,
Mhm,
absolutely. You want to be able to develop yourself so you have walk away money,
mhm.
so that you can walk away. If the environment does not suit you, you can walk away. If you're not earning enough, you can walk away because you know that you can create it again, that you know that you have the ability. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on
Mhm.
the face of the earth, including your finances, to create a life that you love and that you're excited about. Helen Keller said, "Life is either a daring adventure or it's boring." And so I live an exciting life. It's great to be me.
Yeah. I love that. Move away from people that further entrench you into possibility blindness. Move away from a culture and people, and then take back your personal power. I
Uh,
mean, that's so practical. If you've given it away, that means that you have the power to take it back. Take it back and give yourself permission to succeed.
the
Don't
kind of
wait.
conversation we having right now,
Yeah,
people don't get this often.
they don't.
No, no, you have always marched to the beat of a different drummer. Henry David Thoreau said, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps he's listening to the beat of a different drummer. Let him march to the music that he hears, however measured or far apart. You march to the beat of a different drummer. And
Hmm.
that's why, as a leader, you impact and then you influence people because you inspire them through your example to raise the bar on themselves.
Hmm. Yes, that's really, really good. That's really, really good. I want to throw out another question. What hurdles will the average person have to overcome?
Well, I think that uh, the hurdles that the average person will have to overcome, and the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome, is one and the same, and
Mm.
that is to be coachable. Be
Mm.
coachable. Yes, I know you're shocked right
Wow,
now.
I am
You're
shocked.
shocked right now. You know, the
Chevrolet,
world,
Honda, Honda, Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. Bow tie.
the world is filled with know-it-alls who accomplish very little. and and the toughest thing that it is, and I understand it, is to take yourself out of the driver's seat and be led by somebody who's achieved greater results than you.
I can't believe I'm here.
Okay.
You know,
After a while, it sinks in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we often have bright ideas that we have, different projects that we're passionate about, but unless you have some strong leadership and a coach who can guide you through some things that you might not have seen or been able to anticipate, then you're not going to make it as far as you could. Many people are struggling as solopreneurs because
Oh.
they don't realize the power of teamwork. I'm
Mhm.
blessed because I don't just have a dad, a great parent. I'm a part of a great team. And because of the coaching that I received from him at an early age, by the time I was 14, I was earning over $2,500 an hour. I was traveling, spending time on the road on tour when most kids were still in school. And that foundation gave me the type of life that when I entered my 20s and I was doing things that many people they did not know were possible, but I knew it was possible because my coach told me it was possible. I didn't believe him at first, but there's a difference between, wanting to be successful and being groomed for greatness. So when you get a coach and you identify a coach who cares about you, who loves you, who can see your potential when you might see your limitations, then you're able to outperform your greatest dreams.
Yes, yes, and provides the enough pressure and tension between who you are and who you have the potential to be, and helps you to raise the bar on your own expectations. That's really, really good. And then you talked about the whole idea of a team. Someone once said you go as far as the 5 people closest to you. I say that they become your prophets, and you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. And I'm only rephrasing in sound bites what you just said. That's really fantastic.
Yes,
So
I heard a person that said their definition of hell is on your last day on earth, the person you are meets the person you could have become.
my gosh, my gosh. Now
Okay.
that's a good quote. You know,
whoa,
and so we should take, part of the process
I'm gonna use that.
is not running around trying to meet everybody else, but spending enough time being introduced to your greater self, because your future self is going to thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your coach, your mentors, they can see your future self.
Hmm. Hmm.
And one of the quotes that my dad says, which I love, is which is true. Sometimes you have to believe in someone else's belief in you until yours kicks in.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Because sometimes we're blinded, aren't we?
Yes,
Yes.
we are. And the thing about John Leslie, I learned so many things from him. Pivotal points in my life. He helped me to begin to believe in myself. And I was first diagnosed with cancer. And how old were you at the time you came in the room?
I was about 14.
He's 14. He came in the room. He said, "Dad, are you going to die?" I said, "We're all going to die one day." And he said, "No, but I want to know, is this cancer going to kill you?" I said, "Well, why are you asking me that?" He said, "You're in this room. I don't hear any motivational messages being played. The shade
Mm.
down. It's dark in here. Where's my dad? Is this going to kill you, or are you going to fight?" I said, "I'm going to fight." What made you do that?
I just miss my dad. And when most people don't realize, when there's like a diagnosis, like a cancer, for one person, the whole family is affected, and the
Mhm.
whole family is impacted. And I wasn't ready to lose you, and I'm happy that you fought. I'm happy that you reinvented yourself and developed different habits and started to get all the expertise about the diagnosis so that you could still be here today.
Yeah, he stopped.
Defying the odds every day.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, he
Yeah,
stopped letting the
yeah.
shade stuff and said, "You need to listen to something. You need to put some positive stuff in your head."
Mhm.
And so I followed his directions. I believe you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach.
This is amazing, amazing. Mr. Brown and John Leslie. I have these two quotes. This is really riveting quotes for me, especially the journey that we've been taking to greatness. Um, and it's from a very famous motivational speaker. I think both of you would know the person once I give you the quote. And if you know the person, then please do give their name so that those that are joining us can follow that individual and listen to their motivational, inspirational speeches that are online. And you, the two of you, have heard them speak over and over. So I'm just going to give you a little tidbit of this amazing motivational speaker that has impacted me, impacted the both of you. This is what they say, and it's a quote: "You have something special. You have greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine." Respond to that, and please do give us the individual that made that statement.
That's
That's my
Les Brown.
statement. That's me. Let the record show. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You're here to do the greater work. That's my quote. Yes. Let me hear the second one. Yeah.
Okay, and the second one is: "Doing great requires that we become great people, and all of us can become great people." Quote unquote.
That's me. Because we have the potential for greatness. But because most of us have been marginalized and we live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential. They did a study. If I say to you, "Dr. Trimm, you can't do what it is you say you want to do," somebody else has to come along and say, "Dr. Trimm, you can do it. You can do it. Dr. Trimm, don't listen to us. You can do it. You can do it." 17 times to neutralize that one time. That's why the book of life says faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. So we have to train our minds to serve us. Otherwise, our minds will be trained and groomed by this thing called life. Be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's an ongoing process.
That's so powerful. That's powerful. And what a way, I mean, I could stay here all day long talking to the two of us, but two of you, but our time is up for now. And I would like to ask you publicly, would the two of you agree on separate occasions to be interviewed again? Because what you're saying is so relevant today.
Yes, we love
We
that.
love
We
that.
love that. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much for agreeing.
We're
So,
two of the
as
biggest
we
fans over here.
thank you.
Yeah,
What are you doing now? What are you doing now? How can people find you? And out of all of the resources that you have that can be made available, what are the top three that you would recommend that they buy? Where can they buy it? And that they can listen to, and where they can listen to it again? Uh, where can they find you? Top three. Where can they buy it? Where can they find it? Where can they listen to it?
Okay, so I will go in order. Number one, you've got to be hungry. The book. Okay.
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you very much, John Leslie.
yes,
Allow me.
yes, and you can buy it on I Am Hungry, Les Brown.
LesBrown.com. I am hungry, LesBrown.com. You can check it out there. And it's also available on Amazon if you type in You've Got to Be Hungry. Also, there is, for those that are always thirsty and craving for more, my dad, Les Brown, does a live stream daily called Lunch with Les at 12 noon. So please check
See
that
on
out.
our Facebook.
Yes, yes. Lunch
you
with
can do
Les.
And I do coaching now. I'm teaching others. You learn, you earn, you pass it on. I'm 75. And even when they lift the restrictions, I'm not going to be traveling anymore. I decided I don't want to do that. And I'm now training people how to make their living room that platform and earn money in their living room, speaking to their computer, and create online courses to generate non-performance income, making money while you sleep.
This is great. Well, thank you. Have heard it from the horse's mouth. How can they connect with you again on social media?
The Real Les Brown on Facebook. The Real Les Brown Facebook page. That's the best way to connect.
Yes, and I Am Hungry, LesBrown.com to purchase the book.
I know I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And to all of you, you have heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Thank you for doing life with us. I want everyone to stay healthy, stay happy. Remember to practice social distancing as long as that procedure is being recommended. And then remember, be good to yourself, be good to someone else, and keep the faith. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown and John Leslie, which I love.
Thank you.
Thank you for being my guest for today. And we look forward to talking with you a little bit more. Could you put that book up so everyone can see?
Yes, yes.
And that's the book that we are recommending. Go right now, and pick up a copy of your book. I walk about an hour to 2 hours a day. Mine is right here on my telephone. So thank you once again. It's been a privilege. God bless everyone. God bless America. Stay safe until we speak again. Bye bye for now.
Bye now.